a poster shared this very interesting thought. He shared, "Jeff, I followed your work and your passion for musicianship and education is undeniable. I don't think anyone serious about the instrument questions the importance of fundamentals. Reading, time, harmony, discipline, and the ability to actually play at a professional level. That foundation still matters, and younger players absolutely need to hear that message clearly." Thank you for sharing your thought, and welcome to another episode of And Nothing But the Truth. This post is positive. It touches on a lot of academic principles, but it also includes a philosophy that I would say has become a part of the general thinking of the general music population everywhere. The ability to actually play at a professional level. The lure and the mention of professionalism in music, I believe, is mostly deviating people away from what practice actually is, for one. And two, professional level music seems not to be clear to a lot of people. A lot of people have even written me, "What do you mean by a professional?" This is an interesting opportunity because it allows me to share with people a couple of thoughts. That my first and very strong thought is that practicing as related to achieving a professional life is both misguided and essentially untrustworthy. Why? Because a professional life, that is to achieve a skill level that gives one the opportunity to be professional, the skill level is acquired by being taught music and the practicing of it. I'm beginning to sound like an old record, as one poster had put it, because it seems that the message isn't clear. The professional result is a distraction from what practicing is supposed to be. All that it is supposed to be. And all that it is supposed to be is an opportunity to learn academically the music that music is constructed of and to play it on this instrument. The apprentice period for most musicians is years. Certainly in the classical field, you'll find children starting young and studying until they become almost close to 15 to 20 years old, where after a decade and a half of practice, this is when their actual qualification to be professional becomes apparent. Bass players have confounded their own musical information, has confounded their own musical improvement. And I also point to schools that talk about preparing students for careers as part of the problem, because you don't want to study music with the goal of achieving a career. I agree. I played and practiced fantasizing about being on stage at the Fillmore East and, as a young kid, those gigs that I wanted to become a part of. But at the same time, it was the lure of music and my diving headfirst into it for its own sake that got me to almost lead an entire pack of bass players, at least in the understanding of music. I never had a style, not for years and years. So I had to love music enough in order to work hard to see if one would emerge. But the notion of professionalism in practice and achieving professional career by practice, and the whole aspect of it, even included as a necessity in this gentleman's post, and the ability to actually play at a professional level. This is a distraction, and I believe that it is an interference. I think that it is literally going to stop people from learning music, because people that seek to learn music to achieve a profession out of it essentially are impatient for that profession to begin. And in the practicing of music, which is a far, far longer time in the apprenticeship and learning of music than you have been led to believe, I'll put it this way, a whole planetary's worth of bass players have been unfortunately misguided and misdirected by teachers and schools and the such. I am that broken record, who have not told people that a career is a coincidence. It's an event that may or may not come. But what absolutely will come is that if one is dedicated to the learning of music and the practicing of the bass and playing with people, musical improvement is going to take place. And it's going to take place at its own schedule. You can't rush it. You can't push it. The notion of clicking up a metronome so you can play faster and that develops your playing, that's a myth. It's essentially getting you to possibly perform a song at a little faster tempo when, as a learning musician, you should be slowing it down and practicing musical principles slowed down for weeks and before you start to play them faster. So while I appreciate this post, the whole notion of becoming a professional is a polluting philosophy, except if it might be your self-induced inspiration. Man, I love practice, I'm going to do it. Maybe one day I'll get some gigs. I mean, we do it to ourselves. We play, and a lot of people have tolerated small gigs early in their career. The Ray Charles story is interesting because he played in bands and was a sideman until eventually his talent was discovered. But the man was a Chitlin circuit piano player, struggling in rather limited playing environments. But it was the playing and being in the music and the love of the music that got him his career. So the reason I mention him is because some teachers, bass teachers, have taught erroneously, I believe, to wear blindfolds. And one of the justifications for wearing blindfolds, to deny your sight so you can use your ears to play better, twofold, is that the notion is based on 2 or 3 blind musicians, Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Jose Feliciano, and the like. And the second reason is due to the Mozart effect. The Mozart effect was taught that if kids or people listen to Mozart, their intelligence level would go up a little bit. What happened is that it never stayed there. So that if listening to Mozart, and I don't know the study well, I know that it was supposed to be an event that helped improve one's intelligence. But what I did find out is that the intelligence was not sustainable. I don't know any other way to put it. People can look this up. It isn't that you learn something and then dumb down. It's that whatever was stimulated did not remain stimulated. So when people practice with blindfolds and believe they're improving, the moment the blindfold is taken off, you will revert to the normal sighted musician that you always were. The lesson is flawed. Okay, so using that as an example, part of the notion of teaching blindfolds is that if you can hear and play in tune, maybe it'll also help your career. It has to be seen that way because the school where the teacher had taught this principle, in the first paragraph of the mission statement, it states, "We will help prepare you for a career." Thus, maybe all the lessons or nearly all the lessons are designed to aid one to play so that they can get a career. And it's really here that any suggestion and guidance to a career, especially for a system as lacking in checks and balances and lacking any consistent principles of teaching that one can even find when being taught a flute or an oboe or such a classical instrument. The principles are narrow and perfect and they work. And they always have. So the broad approach has literally prevented people from acquiring that career that they promised. But I want to go further and suggest that people don't think about a career. There has been a popular tenet where people, actually, they criticized me for it. They said, well, with all your criticism, won't people quit music, quit bass, and because they don't want to do these things? So you're actually stopping people from playing, and that's bad for people. Well, I'm not stopping anybody from playing. I'm telling people that if you want to play, there are certain principles that are guaranteed to help you to play better. And you're not going to get it in a Q&A with a famous drummer or bass player or a famous guitarist, unless those teachers teach you music to practice. So the idea of the preparation for a career mostly doesn't work, especially, and I'm sorry to put this term to you, but the Department of Statistics, I can't remember the actual name, the Department of Business Statistics has stated that the lowest industry for employment is music, and that it is predicted to improve by 1% over 10 years. So what does that mean? It means that, at least to me, that the whole aspect of the ability to play at a professional level and the preparation to play at a professional level is mostly a myth. It seems to be a way to lure innocent kids to pay large tuitions in order to be taught with the hope of getting a career. But I'll tell you how you can get your career, and you can get it by jumping way in front of the line. And the way you're going to get that career is by practicing music all the time. I mean, not 20 hours a day. The extreme element of practice isn't necessary, but the daily practice of music is vital. I've gotten so much better since my thumb surgery over in 2020. What are we now? 26, 23, I think I had it. I mean, I'm double the bass player I am, not by technique, but by music. And the reason I got here is because I practiced music almost every single day for 3 years since I determined in January 2023, or was it 2024? It might be 2 years, I can't remember. You know, at my age, I begin to forget things. So also at my age, I sort of stopped remembering things. So the career element is generally a myth. It's a sales pitch, and it's unfair because you, for the most part, not all, see, that's the thing about this. People will always point to the 5 guys that acquired music careers and don't point to the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 others that didn't, except at the regional level. Do you want a career, as this person has suggested? If you do, then dedicate yourself to bass playing and music. That's it. That's all you need. In a bass lesson, that's all you need. You want to learn how to slap? Buy records and imitate them. You want to learn how to tap? Buy records and imitate them. You want to play styles? Buy records and imitate them. You haven't dived, as a community, into the work philosophy whereby you use your ear and you struggle with the style while trying to play it on an instrument, struggling on the instrument to play it, the instrument that people purport to love. If you love it, you'll do it. Because I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I can tell you from experience, it just isn't as bad as you think. What it is unrewarding when you want it to be rewarding. There is no way that you're going to rush and improve and speed up learning. It doesn't work that way. You can't learn Spanish faster as a second language until you learn the words according to your own ability to learn them. You can't learn how to cook faster until you cook and are taught and are experiencing it to where eventually you achieve your accomplishment. But to speed up a metronome, which is basically a myth, and to study slap with teachers because you want to speed up the learning, the way you speed up your learning is by not speeding up your learning. You practice and you do your thing as your teachers did it. They are self-taught. And you do your thing and be content with the slow, gritty, bumpy, usually unrewarding struggle, whereby one day the light goes off and things appear. And until people kind of go the way that I'm saying and not seek out a career, but seek out musical improvement, You can't experience what I know you could experience, what many people have experienced. These thoughts aren't mine. People have gone through exactly what I'm saying on a lot of instruments and achieved great things. The base educational system is misguiding you to where even a very positive comment as this gentleman referring to reading and time and harmony and the discipline and the ability to actually play at a professional level. It's a slight pollution of thought. And if people got rid of this and just went into music, maybe the profession you're seeking might come, but you don't know when. Are you okay with that? Because if you are, you may get a surprise down the road later in life, either a year or 10 years. Practice anyway. You love bass? Practice it anyway. You love music? Practice it anyway. And do your own thing as being self-taught. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button. Your thoughts are welcome.